Barrister team, I'm sure even prior to this time you had seen that video that has gone viral, and it's quite alarming. It is interesting. It is a lot of things in one. Would like you to just air your thoughts and what you think about the whole charade in the parliament there.
There's so much that one can talk about Moki is doing, what he did. That thing has gone viral. And I'm from the BLM. On the BLM different groups, I've seen people almost dancing, popping beers, whiskeys. Why? Because Mbella Moki at least mentioned their name. He mentioned the BLM. And for them, that was a cause to celebrate. And so, who is Mbella Moki? You have used the word there, faking an illusion of representation. If you follow the clip very, very well, they will not even let him talk. They were about to stop him. They were begging for time to continue to talk. Does it remind us of what Wilbur did? Wilbur was also a representative from Bui in the House of Assembly. They will not let him talk. I told them I will talk right to the end. Just talking. So these are people operating under the illusion of representation. When did Mbella Moki make all these statements? He was making these statements 2-3 days ago. At the close of their annual assembly, the meeting in Yaoundé. What was the meeting for? The budget. The budget for 2025. And so you find that what Mbella Moki is doing, he asked, to who is Mbella Moki complaining? To whom is he talking? He's begging the administration, telling them the roads are not there. Not to Kundutiti, not to Idi now. Then they promised to put a cement factory, whatever thing they wanted. And Butiman factory, which probably had promised was in Boya then, in the early 1990s. I heard him say it. But the important thing is, who is Mbella Moki? Mbella Moki is a senator. In other words, Mbella Moki is a lawmaker. At the end of the session, what do we expect to get from Mbella Moki? We're expecting anybody is expecting Mbella Moki or any other man taking representation here only to be telling the people that he represents what is in the budget that he or she voted for next year for the people. I would have expected Mbella Moki to be telling the people, well, this is the end of the session, we just voted about a budget, we provided so many millions or so many billions for the road to Kundi Titi. We have provided so much for the road to the BLM or whatever thing they mean. Because that's the essence of representation. He didn't do it. There's nothing in the budget. He has just finished voting the budget. There's nothing in the budget for Kundi Titi, not for his native Fako, not for his so-called economic capital. And then he comes and he's crying to who? He's crying to you and me. What is his account? What is his representative account? What has he done? What has he, in fact, what has he voted into the budget? That would take a road to Kundo Titi. That would take a road to Lebiela. That would take a road to the West Coast. Because he's dealing with roads. He doesn't give this account. He calls people to come and sit there, ministers, to see him talk, like Wilbur. And they go out clapping for a representative. What did he represent? He voted the budget. What's in the budget to solve the problem that he has mentioned? It is actually pure, if you knew what representation meant in the Southern Cameroon in the 1950s, parliamentarians did not just talk the voted budget, specific budget. In the parliament of 1959, 1960, 1961, a parliamentarian will come out and tell you where in this budget were provided for a school in Santa, so many millions, were provided for a road going to Mbengwe, so many millions. He knows this. That's the work of a representative. Now he is crying, like you and me, and expecting the situation to come from where? We should have been going to cry to him and his colleagues. As you go to parliament, know that we don't have a road, make sure there's a budget in the budget, there's the money in the budget to construct a road or to construct a school, whatever thing we like. But he's not doing it. He's coming to he has finished. He's going back home with a salary of 2 million every month or something around that, and complaining to nobody. What makes him think that those people he's talking to there, there are people who were there last year. There are people who have been there for 40 years. There are people who have been stealing the oil from there. There are people who promised in 1990 that they were going to put a bitumen factory in Limbe. They are the very people, the same minister is sitting there. They are the very people who promised to build a cement factory that he's complaining about. They are still sitting there. They have not changed for the past 30, 40 years. What makes him think that they will change? At least he's a smart guy. He thinks that he can make that and gain some sympathy. That is why if you go on Facebook, his name is all over now. For doing what? For talking. Just for talking. Because talking about your grievances is even forbidden. You're not allowed to talk about them. That's why even before the very senator is standing right there, he's begging them, let me finish. Papa, just let me finish. Otherwise, they will shut you down. And so this is what we have come to. Illusion of representation. You represent nobody because he solves no problem, he proposes no solution. He, like the 10 others from his region, called Southwest, like the 10 others from the Northwest or from the North, they represent nobody. Like the 15 MPs from the Southwest. No, like the 15 MPs from the Southwest. Like the 20 from the Northwest, they call them. What do they represent? That they are still crying. We're talking about insecurity, bad roads, no schools. What do these people represent? They're representing who? And so until they get out of the mindset, until they were able to go and read, I'm sure Mbella does not understand. Until, because he was young, until you understand how the parliamentary system worked in Ambazonia, which we were trying to restore, that an MP will represent people, he will represent the interests, life, financially and otherwise. Until he understands this, he will not know what is going on. They represent nobody. They cannot propose anything to change their lifestyle. They cannot propose anything to improve anything. And of course, you find my poor Mbella Moki, I feel sorry for him. I've said this, people didn't like to hear with me. Mbella Moki is a senator. The senators represent their region, 10 for each region. They are region representative. They are not divisional. They are not subdivisional. They represent the region. One would have expected Mbella Moki, just like any other senator, to be highlighting the difficulties of his region. How does that concern him with Douala or the economic capital? They have their own 10 senators. So it's a misrepresentation of representation. I don't know how we'll get to educate them on this. They are paid a salary. They meet 3 times a year, 90 days and 366 days. And they're sitting in their home doing nothing. They go to Yaoundé, they've been there for 30 days, doing nothing. They brought a budget to them for 10 days last. They put their signature there. He doesn't even know the budget. He knows nothing. And so it is faking representation. It is being paid by the colonial master. In fact, faking to belong. And we shall not belong. We don't belong. We don't intend to belong to that top charade. In a true Amazonia, if Mbella Moki finds himself in parliament, he will be held accountable. Project-wise, one project after the other is going to be held accountable for what the people want, what has not been done. And if he doesn't account for it, he will be voted out. He will be voted out. That's the system we're fighting to restore. Simple as that. Okay. We must spoke like that. Well, see, the issue of bench warrant for him. For daring to speak, not for doing anything wrong, for daring to speak. The issue of bench warrant for him. And where he sits today is abroad, on exile. So poor Mbella Moki, if we have not learned the legislative rights of a parliamentarian, a senator, get the books and read. You're not there to complain to the government. You are there, you are lawmakers. You have to make laws and impose on government to implement. You are lawmakers. You are not lawburgers. That's all what it is. Mbella Moki, like other people in parliament, in the Southwest, 15 of them, in the Northwest, 20. And the Norway has 20 parliamentarians, they have 10 senators, that's 30. The Southwest has 15 parliamentarians, 10 senators, that's 25. You have to represent the people. Until you get independence, you have to get what is ours. Moki is not questioning where the money from Sonora went to. He doesn't question that. You know the money came from Sonora. Where does Sonora get the money from Indian? Mbella Moki does not know what happened to the money that he cannot construct a road to Bamunda. To Kondo Titi, and by extension to Dian. Mbella Moki will not even dare about any of them. Not Mbella Moki alone. They ask before the floor of assembly, where is the duo of Idabato? Where is he? That's part of the Southwest. Where is the duo? I mentioned the BLM people are clapping. Of the 10 senators in the Southwest, of the 10 senators, the BLM has 2. Sitting here, there are senators. He has 2 of the 10. What's their record of representation? Their record is coming around giving people beer. The BLM, which is one of the smallest divisions in the Southwest, they are able to provide up to 2 senators. And yet, there's no development there. There's no road. There's absolutely nothing. And so poor Mbella Moki and their colleagues will feel your pain, because as long as there's no road there, your car does not drive on a good road anyway. As long as I know you could walk to West Coast, the road was designed to construct, they're not constructed. You would have been benefiting it from it because you're in Boya. That's Fako. He talked of a Butaman factory to tar the roads. Butaman is tar. You would have been using your car on those good roads. But it's not done. Who is to blame? You, Mbella Moki, you are to blame. Because you're supposed to vote the laws. You're the one who voted the budget. Why do you not ensure that those things were in the budget? Zero representation, zero accountability. We're not there for you. We'll fight until we establish what we want. Over to you.
It's always interesting, Barrister Mbeseha, when you come from that legal perspective, because it shows a lot that has been lacking when it comes to these colonial surrogates. But then, away from the ongoing happenings with the colonial parliament, we're seeing something interesting. We're supposed to let you go at this point, but something interesting we found on the social media that has caught our attention slightly. We see a message from a certain Uncle Vince, tactical to practical. He says the recent ICC case that is making waves now was filed by Dr. David Masanga. He's talking about the ICC case we brought up in the news on Saturday last week and even on Monday. He says the recent ICC case that is making waves now was filed by Dr. David Masanga, a Ugandan civil rights activist and founder of the Pan-African Forum, with material support from Mimi Mefo, who is a survivor of Paul Biya's genocidal regime. All the noise from would-be Amazonian leaders and lawyers is just noise. If you have documented proof of Corn Pastor Sako, he addresses, filing a lawsuit at the ICC, please post it here. So he says if you have a documented proof of Dr. Sako filing a lawsuit at the ICC, please post it here. Thanks. And this is coming from a certain Uncle Vince, tactical to practical. Well, the honest truth is, I don't think I even want to ask you the question, is it true that that document was filed by the Amazonian government through the legal minds like you and Barrister Fu? I don't think that is the question I want to ask, because, I mean, from the file, we even saw your name as the recipient whom the ICC was addressing that to. So it's not even a question. It's rather ironic that it's hilarious. Somebody would say it is just fronting when your name's boldly and clearly written there, John Unso Fru and Mbeseha at yahoo.com. So it's rather ironic to have someone say that. The question now to you is, it's a good thing that he brought this yet again to our view. We want to ask you to further tell us, what was it like? What inspired, we could guess what inspired that, but from your perspective, what inspired you to, sending this to the ICC, and how optimistic were you that they would receive and read and even further reply with a possible investigation into the ongoing atrocities committed by the La Republique regime? We just want you to tell us what the whole experience was like before sending and all of that. Just give us some insight into that.
Well, it's a very challenging experience. You find that document was end of 2020. But before 2020, a lot of other petitions have been sent to the ICC that we're aware of. What documents are those? They were simply letters written to the ICC, all of them directing the ICC, asking the ICC to intervene. In Amazonia, this was, remember, 1919 was the peak. And no action was taken. I remember reading one from Professor Onyangwe and others. I remember reading one from Akere Mona. They were all addressed to the ICC. But these things did not go anywhere. They didn't go anywhere. I will try to find out why are these petitions not being followed up. But I had their number, I used to contact them. And the answer was clear that Cameroon is not a signatory to the ICC. They have signed up to it, but they have not ratified the Rome Statute. And because they have not ratified the Rome Statute, you cannot file a direct petition against them. Because there are only three ways that you can petition the ICC. The first way is a member country, signatory to the Rome Statute, can talk to them directly. We are not a member state. Cameroon is not a member state, so that option is out of the road. The second option is when it is contacted, where there's a referral from the United Nations Security Council, they will act. A good example is, for example, what happened with Gaza and Israel. They had a referral from the Security Council, and they started to act. The third option is to contact directly the prosecutor of the ICC. That method is called the OTP, the office of the prosecutor. And so we found that was the only way we could get through. But to get the prosecutor to act, you must give evidence that's what you are talking about with a state party to the ICC. We found that we discovered that Nigeria had been an active participant in this war. Nigeria is the state party to the ICC. Nigeria is so connected. They are the ones who arrested our people from Ninara 10 and sent back to Cameroon for trial. They are the people who went to Taraba and other states and captured people there and sent them back. Some who have been killed. So they were active participants. They are active participants in the ongoing genocide. So in order to get our position received, we have to bring in Nigeria as a co-defendant. I mean the Nigerian government, because the services were involved in capturing people from Nara Hotel. The military were involved in capturing people from Taraba. So we have to bring in Nigeria as a participant in the war crimes against Amazonia. That's how we feel I wrote it like that. It's not as simple as a good thing. It's 102 pages. It's petition 102 pages. Quite long, detailed enough. And so we worked on that thing. We were supposed to be 5 of us. I was supposed to be there. I was there. My sensor was supposed to be there. He was there. Mr. Ghana was supposed to be there. He was there. 2 others. Debunking Dennis, who was then in Addis Ababa. He was supposed to be there. He didn't show up. Bohebe nominated somebody to represent him. We never showed up for any of the sessions. So the 3 of us worked on that document for about 2 weeks, almost a month, and submitted it with those names under it. Coincidentally, by wonderful coincidence, we find Barrister Sansor's name there. We find my name there. But my name, in addition to my name, carries my email. I don't know why I put that email there, but I put that email there. And so when they got that thing, they had to reply to us electronically. The only person they could contact was me, because my email is on the application. And that's how they contacted me. They contacted us through me, because they sent the email to me. Find those emails that sent to me. That's how I became the contact person. And when they send that thing, you find there's a reference there. There's a reference number. And then there's a phone number that you can call, and you're supposed to be calling, and I've been calling them. You call them to find out what's going on. You call them, there's a process. You update the file. That was 2020. If something happened in 2021 after that, you update the file. There's a way to update. By sending the information, after we send this application, they kill, let me say, 20 people in Manfe on this date. We send pictures. We update the file each time. And I've been updating the file up to this point. So all this idea of Mr. Massacre, I don't know where he filed one, but if he filed one, which is just 2 weeks ago, I'd be surprised if it took that short a time for them to be acting on it. And to the best of my knowledge, all the information we'll have about Mr. Whoever you call that guy, is the speech he gave somewhere, which was captured by Mimi4. I've gone to Mimi4 website. I've not seen any other evidence of filing by that group. If the file is so big, but there must be evidence to show that it filed. In fact, the last I contacted them about 6 months, 8 months ago, they told me that this file was under process, that they were looking for resources. And I'm sure they are acting on it now after Ukraine, after Gaza. They have found some resources. Should we say, do praise ourselves for doing that? Of course we should. Do we condemn Mr. Massacre for doing what he did? If he did, it's so be it. If we have 20 petitions at the ICC, so be it. But this is evidence of what we did. You can see the document there. You can see it is on the head of the ICC. So you acknowledge something. So it cannot be a fabrication. For fabrication, so be it. Some people before now came to me, if I this thing like this, can we follow you? I say, well, that's the phone number. This is a reference. But if you call the phone number, the first thing they'll ask you is the reference. You give the reference. The second thing they will do is they authenticate. Who are you? In my instant case, I call my name to look at, that's the guy who filed the thing. If you call it, I've told them, if you call it and you don't have this information, nobody will attend to you. Because investigations are secret. They don't go and announce in the radio, we're investigating you. They want to know the person to whom they are giving the information. So I told a few people who thought that they could just follow. I said, okay, that is a letter. I'll give you a letter. That's a reference there. That's the phone number. Call them, but they will not attend to you because you know they authenticate. They will ask your name. And you give the name, you look. As per that file, only me, I can update. Because his name is there. It is only 2 of us that get information. It was not by design, it was just coincidental. But it came to me specifically because by time of coincidence, I put my name there and I included an email address, which is why it wrote to me, knowing that if it got to me, it would have gotten to the people. That's the bottom line about that. We need more information about where the Mimi4 is just a journalist.
Yeah,
It's time to promote our
Mbeseha,
website.
speaking of this particular person who said the Amazonian government are fronting that they're the ones who actually filed the petition, when it is clearly and boldly written that the reply from the ICC was directed to you. The question I want to ask is, or better yet, what is something you'd like to say to them, since you've already cleared the air, we've heard the process, how it all went, and, what inspired it and all that. What is one thing you want to say to people like them who are just naysayers and would rather want to fault the struggle instead of, help the struggle?
The other thing they should know is that what that petition that we filed and whatever action we're taking is not for our personal benefit. It doesn't benefit me in any form or shape. It does not benefit President Sako, neither does it benefit Mr. So or any of us talking here. It is our responsibility to bring the people who brought this mayhem on our people to book. And we'll fight that thing, I'll fight it until I die. They have to be answerable for what they've done to us. I gain nothing. I live in the United States. I gain nothing out of it, personally. But again, making sure that those criminals are held accountable. And I will hit my chest. Because the ICC, interestingly, does not go down and look for common people. It deals with the commanders, the ministers. So if at the end of the day I can hold only one general accountable, not the guys who are the bee hanging there in Bamanda and sleeping over in the guardian. No. They're looking for those who gave them the orders. The Debunking, for example, they will look for who gave the orders. They are not going to be looking for those three and that one and shot those guys. No, they were taking orders. So if we can hold only one of them accountable, we would have been happy that at least these people have to answer for what they've done to us. And so that's all the news about it. If anybody doubts it, the files are not closed. Open another one if it's okay. Our goal is to bring this people to book. If I can bring 10 to book, or we can bring 10 to book, and the critic there can bring 5, another one brings 3, that would have been a total of 20. That would make it better. Criticism without contribution is 0. We don't make a lot of noise. If not, they come here to be making all the stories. We find those things, will take time. I say it's 102 pages long. And so it costs us some money. We send them to them by FedEx and other registered mail who paid for that. But the money is not important. The important thing is that finally they got it. Finally they acknowledge that they have it. Finally they gave us a number you can call and follow up from here. And because war crimes and genocide are indistinguishable, they last forever until you die. If they don't hold you today, they'll hold you tomorrow. So even if we die today, we'll rest assured that those who survive will be able to prosecute that case to the end. That's the only information we have for them. Criticize if you want, but I had earlier said in one of the segments about a year or two ago that if you have more information, give us. He was not kidding, because if you gave me the information and it's not here in the file, I know how to update the file. I have a number, I have a system where we can update that file. I will say, okay, we updated this file, we missed this point. We missed, for example, the day of a battle, for example. There's evidence about that. We missed the Manfred hospital, that came after. If you give you the information on the specification that we want, we will update that file. So nobody is excluded. If you feel the pain, let us jointly prosecute this matter. But don't claim ownership. Don't claim leadership not have. Claim participation by cooperating with those who have done something at least good. Over to you.
Thank you, Barrister Mbeseha. You couldn't have said that and put those words any wiser than you already did. It is always a delight to have you here on Undaunted. And to that person, I think the name is Uncle Vince, tactical to practical. We want to believe for the benefit of that for the benefit of that you only posted that and had that question only as a concern, or you wanted to clarify some misinformation and debunk some disinformation. So with that, I believe you took one thing, if not, two or more from Barrister Mbeseha, where he says criticism without contribution is sin. But then I guess that has also been fully and duly clarified. With that, Barrister Mbeseha, I want to say thank you for joining us yet again on Undaunted. It's been a pleasure. It's been a delight to have you here on Undaunted.
Thank you for having me, and good night to you.